In Portsmouth, Virginia, two elderly women were inside their residence watching a movie together, and this is when two armed and masked men made their way inside the home and forced the two women to get in the closet while they ransacked the house. But luckily the women had an indoor security camera that managed to record the whole incident.
Get in the crib, don't say nothing, Y'all get in the closet, right now. Get in the closet, I'm not fucking playing. Get in the closet right now. Get in the closet. Hurry up, get up. Get up. Hurry up. Get up.
After stealing hundreds of dollars worth of material, including the women's phones, the men identified as Tyree and Mitchell Boney escaped in an orange Dodge Charger, but the two suspects have yet to be caught by police. In the UK, a masked and hooded man entered a convenience store equipped with a knife, hopped over the counter and tried to intimidate the clerk into opening the cash register. But the clerk refused to open the register, and this is when the suspect began to steal items from behind the counter. But while doing this, the robber would let his guard down, and this would turn out to be a big mistake.
Open the two now. You open. I got a fucking key, bro. How do you open it? No key, I don't know. What do you do? Sorry. Bro, open it now. No key, man. Bro, open the fucking two. How do you open it? No key. How do you open it then? How do you open it then? No key. You open. No problem. How? Open the two. No, I just come in here 1 hour. Bro, listen. Open the two. No, man. How do you have the money in there? How's the money in there? I don't know, man. Hold up. I don't know. It's okay. I don't know. Bro, open the fucking two. Where's the money? How do you open? Open that. Get back. No, man. Open that. Yeah? No, I don't know. I just... Get out of the shop. Get out of the shop. Get on me. Put the cigarettes in there. 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 You put. No problem. You put. No problem. Yeah? You can't, you see?
You're right.
Yeah,
The robber managed to get away with nothing other than his life, and luckily the clerk was unharmed, but to this day the thief still hasn't been caught. In Indianapolis, Indiana, a man was returning home from work after 8 in the morning, and this is when he was approached by 4 men all armed, wearing masks and bullet-resistant vests. The 4 men surrounded the homeowner before he could even get to the door and held him at gunpoint while they ran inside his home where his wife was and began to steal anything they deemed as valuable.
Hi, you are currently being recorded.
Don't shoot me, man. Don't do it, man. Don't shoot me, dude. What you doing, dude? You don't do nothing. Go. Hey, man. Go, bro. No. Crazy, don't do that, man. In the house. Don't do that, dude. Don't do that. Stay on.
Stay on him. What about him?
The thieves stole thousands of dollars worth of material, but luckily the couple wasn't hurt, and police eventually arrested 3 of the suspects whose identities haven't been released, but they're still looking for other suspects that allegedly had involvement in the robbery and home invasion. For several months in 2012, a masked man that was armed with an AK-47 robbed several banks in Idaho, Nebraska, California, and Washington state. Each time the suspect managed to get away before police arrived, and it was even reported that he fired at witnesses after robbing the banks, and within no time this caused the FBI to get involved.
The FBI is working with law enforcement officials spanning 3 separate regions in the western United States. This is very important to us that we're able to stop this guy before he causes any more physical harm to people. We think it's the same guy because of similarities in his methods, particularly the fact that he was armed with an AK-style rifle and he also was wearing a full-face black ski mask.
We at the FBI, as well as Chino Police Department, we are very concerned for the safety of the public as well as law enforcement based on this individual's propensity for violence.
The FBI tried to identify and locate the suspect for over 5 years, and finally in 2017 a state trooper pulled over a man named Richard Gathercole in Montana, and after getting stopped, Richard began to shoot at the officer, and after Gathercole was eventually detained by police, they searched his car and found the weapon connected to the bank robberies, and eventually Richard Gathercole was charged with multiple armed robberies and attempted murder of a police officer, and the 39-year-old was then sentenced to 35 years in prison. In Chicago, Illinois, a 45-year-old woman was seen on surveillance camera walking back home from the store, but on her way home, she was spotted by a group of men who were looking for an easy robbery, and this is when 3 men inside a car pulled up next to her, pulled the woman to the ground, and robbed her in broad daylight as she yelled in fear. The woman had her phone and purse stolen and notified police, but to this day the men responsible for this brazen robbery still haven't been identified or caught.